and welcome to class. Today's class is all about down dog. Now, if you've ever been to a yoga class, taken a yoga class online, you have probably seen this pose. This pose is almost in every single yoga sequence. However, a lot of times I find that it's thrown in pretty quickly to the beginning of class. And if you think about this pose requires a lot of weight, a lot of load on the wrist and on the shoulders. And if you don't properly warm up those areas, you may be experiencing a lot of pain, or you just may feel like you can never really find comfort in a down dog. And a lot of times this pose is thrown in as a restful pose, come to take a pause in your down dog. And it's essentially a handstand with your feet on the ground. So there's a lot going on. So if you are somebody who has always struggled with your down dog pose, you don't think it's comfortable, you have pain, or it simply just doesn't feel like a rest at all, hopefully this class will help with some of those things. So to begin, gather, any props that you think you may need. I'm personally sitting up on some blocks because I find that more comfortable, but you don't specifically need anything. But if you like blocks or a cushion or anything, go ahead and go grab those. And we'll go ahead and get started right into some movement. So first we're just gonna warm up kind of through the forearms, wrists, and shoulders in our seated position here. So sitting in any comfortable position, you can also do this standing if that is more comfortable. You're gonna bring your right arm out to the side. Right arm is just in line with the right shoulder, fingers or palms pointed up towards the ceiling. You're gonna drop the right fingers down towards the ground to get a bit of a stretch along the front of the right forearm here. Now this already might be enough sensation for you, but if you want a little bit more, you can start to slowly dip the left ear towards the left shoulder. You can bend a little bit through the right elbow if you're having a lot of sensations, just a little micro bend and then straighten, or even just a little bringing the neck back in line over the shoulders and then dipping the ear. Left ear back over towards the left shoulder. Good. Any of these sensations shouldn't be any more than about a 5 or so. And then you're gonna curl the fingers and bringing the knuckles back up towards the ceiling. Probably getting a lot of sensations now along the bottom part of the forearm here. Again, anything too intense, you can release the ear from the shoulder or bend that elbow a little bit to release some of the tension. Find your breath. Good. And release. Head comes back up over the shoulder. Maybe you want to shake out that arm a little bit. We're just going to do the same thing the second side. So left arm goes out towards the left side, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Hand is in line with the left shoulder. And then start to drop the fingertips down towards the ground. You can stay here or start to dip the right ear towards that right shoulder. Again, only going as far as feels comfortable. Any really strong sensations, just back off a little bit or find maybe a little micro movement with a tiny little pulse of the elbow or movement of the neck. Good. A few more breaths. Then curl those fingers back in towards the palm, rising the knuckles up towards the ceiling. Arm is still extended. You can have that micro bend, the feeling a little bit more along the bottom of the forearm there. Good. And release. Give it all a little shake. Just start to roll out through the wrist. Just making little or big circles, working in one direction first, and then reversing that circle. And then just start to find some movement of the fingers. I just call this little piano fingers. No right or wrong, just kind of get those fingers moving a little bit. Good. All right, moving back up to the shoulders now. You're going to bring the arms into kind of a goalpost or cactus shape. You're gonna bring the the hands behind, so you're kind of pinching the shoulder blades together or retracting the shoulder blades, finding an openness through the front body without really arching the spine too much. Just make that movement kind of come from the shoulder blades. And then you're going to bring the arms forward, right over left, kind of giving yourself a big hug as you find some space in between the shoulder blades. As you protract here, you can round a little bit through the spine, maybe even grabbing onto each shoulder and just kind of giving it a little tug. Good. Coming back through center. Inhale as you bring the shoulders back into that retraction, goalpost arms or cactus arms. And then exhale this time, left hand over right. Find a little bit of a curve through the upper back, pulling those shoulder blades apart. Good, a few more at your own pace, taking it nice and slow. Just really trying to find that opening through the front of the chest as you bring the arms back into the goalpost. And then trying to find some space in between the shoulder blades as you give yourself that big bear hug. Good, releasing all that, coming back through center. Gonna bring our arms back out to the side, palms facing down towards the ground. Right and left are both extended. If you're having trouble with this, you can do one arm at a time. But palms down towards the floor. You're gonna try and make this movement simply come from the shoulder versus just the hand moving, but you're gonna work that shoulder into external rotation, so that thumb on the right side is gonna go up towards the ceiling and then spin back over towards the right. Same thing on the left. Left palm is first reaching down towards the ground. Movement's coming from the shoulder as the palm turns up. Thumb goes up towards the ceiling and then back behind you. Good. Then coming back down, so palms face down towards the ground, and then thumbs are going to reach down towards the ground as you internally rotate, again, through the shoulders. Okay? So keep that going, working through this external and internal rotation, taking this movement nice and slow so that you can really feel the movement coming from the shoulders versus a lot of movement in the elbow or the wrist. Let's do one more. Good, release the arms, give it all a little wiggle, a little shake. Good, right hand's gonna come to the outside of the right hip. Left arm's gonna reach up and over, side bending into that left side. That left hip sits bone's gonna stay grounded. Reaching tall all the way from that left hip to the left fingertips. Good, coming back through center, same thing other side. Left hand comes down to the left side. Right arm reaches up and over. Big side body stretch. Do a few more on each side before we find a little bit more stillness. You can use that hand kind of that's on the ground as some support. Helping you kind of push the other side open a little bit. So the next time that the right hand comes down towards the ground, left arm reaching up and over, hold in stillness. And you can use this kind of right hand as a little bit extra support, a little bit more leverage to kind of open up that left side as you send that left rib cage over towards the left and up a little bit, trying to find a little bit of space in between each rib space. Good, coming back through center, same thing other side. Right arm reaches up and over, right bicep is long, kind of the right ear. Use that left hand to kind of send that right rib space over towards the right and up. You can gaze up at the ceiling or down at the ground, keeping the sits bones grounded. Good, coming back through center. We're gonna come over into our all fours position. So you can just remove any blocks if you have them there. Shoulders are over the wrist, hips are over the knees. And you're gonna start to walk your hands more out in front of your mat, sinking the chest down, hips stay over the knees for your puppy pose. You can just be gazing down at your mat. You can let your forehead rest on the mat, forehead rest on the block,
or even kind of dipping your chin or raising your chin up onto your mat. Just finding a nice opening along the front and the back body. Find your breath here. Finding a little bit of space in between the sits bones. Good. Walk your hands in just about a hand's width or so. Find a little bit of a cat pose now in this puppy pose still. So start to dip the chin some, rounding through the upper back, tucking that tailbone under. Keeping this cat pose, try and sink the shoulder or the armpits down towards the mat now. So you're not going to go as far as you were in your puppy pose, but we're trying to find a nice opening in the shoulders here. Gripping through the fingertips. Good. Coming back up through center, and just slowly lower yourself down onto your belly. And we're going to roll over onto the right side. You can have your right arm long down along the mat, or you can pop your head up onto your hand, bending the knees up into about a 90-degree angle. Left knee is just stacked on top of right. If you have a block, you can bring this block in between the knees. If not, just keep the knees together. And we're gonna work through some internal rotation of this left hip. So squeezing the block in between the knees or keeping the knees together, you're just gonna raise the left ankle up towards the ceiling, okay? And then lowering it back down to meet the right. Internal rotation through that left hip as you raise the left ankle up towards the ceiling and lowering it back down to meet the right. Keep that going, working with your pace. Again, just kind of really paying attention to this left hip here. Trying to find some space on the back side of the left hip. Next time that left ankle raises up towards the ceiling, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, lowering the left ankle back down to meet the right. You can remove that block if you've had it. Maybe you want to use it as a little pillow for what we're going to do next. We're going to bring the right arm out in front. Right hand is in line with the right shoulder. Right palm's pointed up towards the ceiling. Left palm comes on top of right. Legs are staying kind of in this 90 degrees. We're going to inhale as we reach the left arm up towards the ceiling and then spiraling the chest over towards the left, coming into a bit of a spinal twist. And then exhale as the left hand rainbows back over to close on top of right. Inhale, left arm reaches up and over. It doesn't need to meet the ground. And exhale to close. Few more of these thoracic rotations. One more. And the next time this left arm opens up, hold it there for a pause. Maybe gazing out over those left fingertips. And then exhale to close. Good. You can remove the block. Rolling back onto the back. Soles of the feet flat on the mat, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. You can keep the left knee bent. We're going to inhale, reach the right leg towards the sky, pointing through the toes. And then exhale, flex through the toes, bringing them closer towards the shin as you bend back through the knee, releasing the right foot back down onto the mat. Inhale, right toes go towards the ceiling as you extend through the right leg. And then exhale, bringing the toes back towards the shin, bending through the knee to place the sole of the foot back on the mat. Good, keep that going. Maybe each time you're able to pull the leg a little bit closer towards the chest. Just stretching along the back of the right leg here. Do one more. Good. Same thing, second side. So right foot's gonna stay planted onto the mat. Raising that left leg up towards the ceiling, pointing through the toes, and then flexing through the ankle as you bring the toes closer towards the shin to bend through the knee, lowering the foot back down onto the mat. Good. These nice dynamic, slow movements here. Just gonna help us feel a little bit more comfortable in that down dog position. A few more. And then rolling onto the left side, bringing your block if you have one. We're gonna work through that internal rotation now on the right leg. Again, propping yourself up on this left hand, or you can release the head down onto the left bicep. Knees together or with a block in between. Right ankle on top of left. Reaching the right ankle towards the ceiling as you keep the knees together, and then releasing the right foot back down to meet the left. Good. Keep that going. Legs are in kind of this 90-degree shape. Knees are staying together. You can always give a little sensation too if you're feeling a lot of sensation. Sometimes that little sensory input can just help wake that area up. The next time that you raise that right ankle towards the ceiling, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Lowering the right ankle back down to meet the left. Left arm's gonna go out in line with the left shoulder, palms facing towards the ceiling. You can rest your head down on a block, pillow, anything that you've got, or just down onto the mat. Right palm comes on top of left. Keep the 90 degrees with the legs, and inhale as you sweep the right arm up and over towards that right side, and exhale to close. Good. Keep that going. And the right hand doesn't need to come towards the ground, just working that way. It doesn't need to hit the ground. Just opening up a bit through the front body, getting some thoracic rotation in. Good. We'll do one more. Pausing in this open twist. And exhale to close. Good. Now rolling back onto the belly. Pushing through the hands to send the hips back into your child's pose. Knees can be wide or together. Take a moment here. Breathing into that back body. Finding some length along the right and the left side as you reach the fingertips away from the hips. Just letting the back of the neck hang long. Forehead moves towards the mat or on a block. Coming back up through our all fours position. We're going to work on some strengthening now through the wrist and the shoulders. And these are those activities that nobody likes to do that are annoying, but they do help a lot. So in our all fours position, fingertips are spread nice and wide.
Hands are about shoulder width apart. We're gonna do some wrist push-ups. So we're gonna do just one at a time first, and then if that's feeling okay, you can do both wrists at the same time. To make this a little bit, if already on your hands and knees, this is a little bit uncomfortable, you can sink the hips closer towards the heels, and that's gonna take some weight off of the wrist, okay? So in our all fours, just on the right hand first, keeping all 5 fingers of that right hand down on the mat. You're just gonna peel the right wrist up off of the floor. It's only gonna come up a couple millimeters, an inch maybe, and then you're gonna slowly lower the right wrist back down to the mat. Left side, all 5 fingers of the left hand stay gripping into the mat. That left palm, left wrist just raises up off the mat and then slowly lowers down. Good, alternating between this right and left wrist, or if it's already feeling okay, you can do both wrists at the same time. Again, keeping all 10 fingers down on the mat, just that palm and wrist are peeling up, and then slowly lowering down. Lowering down a little bit slower than you really want to. Just do 2 more. Good. You can sink the hips back down onto the heels. Maybe give it all a little shake, a little roll out through the wrist. Good. Moving on, we're going to do one more strengthening exercise for the shoulders before we move into our down dog. Okay, so all fours position, shoulders over the wrists, hips are over the knees. Find that stability through your fingertips, through your wrists, so those fingers are spread nice and wide. Gripping through the fingertips. Same thing here, if you need to, if this is already too much, you can bring the hips back towards the heels take a little bit of pressure off. But we're gonna do some scapular push-ups. So this movement is only gonna come from the shoulders. Your elbows aren't going to move. So nice and strong through the wrists. You're gonna dip the chest down towards the mat, kind of retracting the shoulder blades, almost like you're pinching that pencil in between the shoulder blades. And then you're pushing through the shoulder blades to send kind of the back of the heart up towards the ceiling, a little bit of a cat pose. You're widening in between the shoulder blades here, okay? Dipping the chest back down towards the mat, and then pushing. The shoulder blades are widening along the back as the upper back raises up towards the ceiling. Good, keep that going. We'll do probably 10 in total. Pelvis is staying in a neutral position. Elbows are staying straight. Have a little micro bend, but we're not doing anything like a push-up where your elbows are bending. Let's do one more. Good, releasing the hips back onto the heels. Give it all a little shake, a little wiggle. Now we are hopefully warmed up to move into our down dog. Before we get started, one of the bigger goals of down dog is to have a nice, long and straight spine. We want to find length and space through the spine versus focusing on having straight legs, okay? You want to keep your legs as bent as you need to help try and achieve that long spine. We already spend a lot of time in our daily lives kind of hunched over on computers, on phones, so we're trying to find that length, find that decompression of the spine. So one of the most common things that I see a lot is people trying to have really straight legs, and then we're kind of rounding through the spine and able to get those straight legs. Versus bending as much as you need to through the knees to really find the length through the spine. Once we find length through the spine, then we can start to straighten the legs. But again,
Straight legs are not the goal. I can't get my heels down towards the mat. My legs are never going to be straight in down dog, but this feels much, much better on my spine. A lot more decompression, more length, more space along the spine. Okay? So when we're in our down dog, we're gonna have a lot of space in between the fingers here. Fingers are spread nice and wide. You're gonna be gripping through the fingertips, strong through the wrist, pushing, pushing, pushing through the shoulders. So those shoulders are gonna come up by the ears. If they're drawn down the back, you're gonna kind of lose the stability in the shoulder here. So like we did at the beginning of class where we kind of worked on this external rotation, we want that external rotation anytime that we have our arms overhead and we're bearing any weight. So we can do that here before we even come into our down dog pose. So kind of just setting up in towards the back of your mat. Heels can be, or hips can be resting down on the heels. We're gonna bring our arms out to the side. Externally rotate through the shoulders so that those palms are raised up towards the ceiling. Bring the arms overhead, so palms are facing towards one another. Now without losing the external rotation of the shoulder, just bring your palms flat down onto the mat, okay? Gripping through the fingertips, fingers are spread nice and wide. Go ahead and bring yourself up to tuck the toes under. Spine can be a little bit rounded here, that's fine. We're gonna straighten it out as we push up. So grip through the mat, take a breath, and then exhale, start to push through those toes to send the hips high, kind of so that they meet where the back wall and the ceiling would. We're pushing strong through the shoulders, so shoulder blades or shoulders are raising up towards the ears, shoulder blades are protracting across the back. You've got some space. You feel this decompression in the spine. Maybe your belly's still on the thighs. Once you have found your stability here and it feels okay, then you can start to straighten through the legs. Maybe even walking out your dog as you straighten through one leg and bend through the other knee. Good. So that even though we're pushing through our shoulders here, the back of the neck is long. Maybe even give the head a little shake, yes and no. Just to make sure everything's nice and loose. Good. One final breath here. Really push through the shoulders. Send the sits bones high. And then exhale, bringing the knees back down to the mat. You can release the hips back down onto the heels. Take a breath. We're going to do that one more time. Just taking a few moments of rest in between each set. And as we're going through this down dog here, if there's any time where you need to come down, just come down and take a rest, okay? All right, so we're gonna go through that one more time. So if it's helpful for you to kind of bring those shoulders into external rotation, more from this seated position first, you can do that. But if you feel like you can get that, or you can go ahead and come into your all fours position. Again, spread the fingertips nice and wide, gripping through the fingertips. Just get that external rotation through the shoulders here before we bear much more weight. Tuck the toes under, take a breath, and then exhale as you send the hips towards the sky as you straighten out through the spine. Again, pushing through the shoulders, find that nice long spine, and then you can start to straighten out through the legs. Gaze should just be kind of in between the feet. The biceps are resting along the ears. You can start to pedal out through the legs, dropping one heel closer towards the mat as you bend through the other leg. And then maybe pausing in stillness. See if you can use those exhales to find a little bit more ease, a little bit more comfort in this pose. Good, and then go ahead and bring the knees back down to the mat, lowering yourself all the way down onto your belly. Just gonna do a quick cool down, mainly stretching out kind of through the shoulders here before we are finished. So lying on the belly, you're gonna bring the left arm out in front. Right arm's gonna thread under that left, right shoulder comes down towards the mat for your shoelace pose. Tops of the feet are on the mat, hips are driving into the mat. You can leave this left arm extended, you can come down onto the elbow, or even I sometimes like to lower it down along my left side, kind of driving that left shoulder a little bit more towards the mat, opening up through the back of the right shoulder. Pausing in stillness here. Bring that left arm back in front, releasing the right arm. We're going to bring the right arm out to the side so that it is in line, right hand's in line with the right shoulder. Left hand's going to come under the left shoulder as you push yourself up onto your right side. You can let the side of the head relax down onto the mat. If you need a little bit more, you can bring the left leg behind you as a little kickstand. Just trying to open up through the front of the right shoulder now, right chest. You're trying to send the breath up into that space. If you all still need a little bit more, you can come out of this pose and cactus the arm before rolling back onto that right side. Good. Rolling back onto the belly. Just gonna do that same thing on the left. So right leg, or right arm's gonna extend long in front. Left arm's gonna thread under the right for a shoelace pose. Just relaxing the chin down onto the arm or forehead down onto the mat. Keeping the right arm extended long. Letting it relax down along the mat, or a little bit more intensity, relaxing the right arm down along the right side and trying to square off the shoulders as much as possible. Probably feeling a lot kind of along the back of the left shoulder here. And bringing the right arm out in front. If it was down by your side, to release that left arm. Left arm goes out towards the side, left hand in line with left shoulder. Using the right hand to push you up onto your left side. Maybe you use the right foot as a little kickstand. And a little bit of a twist as we open up through the front of the left shoulder. Again, maybe trying to send the breath up to that space. And whenever you're ready to release, rolling back onto the belly. Pushing yourself back up to a seated position. Now, hopefully some of these warm-ups helped you in your down dog. Maybe you take just one or two to do before your next yoga class to help warm up the wrist or warm up the shoulders wherever you're struggling in your down dog. Or if there's anything else that you need help with in your down dog, it still doesn't feel comfortable, just leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.